Welcome back to the Jagged Edge. Javal, how are you doing? Almost 24 hours.
Draft Eve. I'm the thing with the draft is always it's always exciting, and then the week of the draft, it's just everything is just dragging slowly. Feels we're at a standstill, but almost there, man. Just a few hours, and then it's just crazy how it's literally months and months and months worth of build up, and then the first round is over in 4 hours, and then even days 2 and 3 are done in 4 or 5 hours. So it's now we're here, draft time. Let's see what the rumors, what rumors are the truth, and we'll just have fun from there, man. But I'm excited.
For sure, for sure. And so, when it comes to, well, you talked about the defensive side of the ball last time we spoke. So I'm curious to see what you think about the offensive side of the ball as, what are your thoughts? I mean, because there's only one position we're really, really trying to focus on when it comes to this draft, and that's definitely the wide receiver. So I don't know too much in depth into like the second and third round. Maybe a few guys, especially since we're in Jacksonville. Then two of the guys that could be going late first, and sometime in the second, like Lad McConkey and like Ricky Pearsall. Well, we want to be a bit more exciting, talk about the top three guys in this draft. So, what are your thoughts on Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze?
Well, I mean, obviously good players, so not really too upset. I guess in terms of Jags specifically, because I feel there's nothing I could say about these players that anyone who's interested in the draft hasn't heard already. But for the Jags specifically, I mean, I remember I was reading an article, a mock draft by Ship, and he mocked where the Jags made trade for Malik Neighbors, and they said keep Gabe Davis at the X and kind of move Neighbors as a Z on the outside, but can still play inside a lot, and then keep Kirk outside. And I thought that was interesting because I guess in my personal preference, I wanted if I had to pick which one, I mean I'd pick Mark the best, but if I had to pick between Rome and Malik Neighbors for the Jags specifically, I would have picked Rome because I think they just Trevor still doesn't really have that contested catch guy. But in the scenario John described, where Gabe is just a full time X, and you just have another explosive run after catch, break tackle guy like Neighbors, I mean, I wouldn't really be upset. So for the Jags specifically, I feel they might be more in on Rome, but I don't know. If they want somebody who can kind of play more so across the field, Neighbors makes more sense. Because I think Rome is probably just going to be an X. Well, it's not a bad thing. With Neighbors, you can kind of move him around. He's got more juice. So I don't know, man. I mean, obviously, I don't think it'll happen unless one of those guys falls to 8 or 9, in which this case anything's possible. So, you know, it really just depends on if the Jags think it's actually worth just trading up, which I feel most of the fan base wants them to do it. And I wouldn't be upset if they traded up for a receiver, but I also if they say to draft a guy ideally ideally second round, but you just need to get a good receiver, and then I don't mind not trading up. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of good players in this class, but there's definitely the top three in terms of tier.
For sure, and it looks like I think somebody said that the Cardinals are more than willing to take, Marvin Harrison Jr. if no one will trade up to their spot because they're also one of those teams that could be trading down. Chargers could want to trade down. Bears again, if they want to fill up some more holes, they could trade down from like the 8 or 9. Was it the 8 or 9 spot they're in this year? So there's
Is that at
options.
9? Yeah.
At 9, yeah, because Atlanta's ahead of them. That's also a trade down candidate. So there could realistically be some teams if Jacksonville really, really want to get a guy that they covet at receiver because, we failed to re-sign Calvin Ridley, which, kind of leaves an open hole there at wide receiver. If the Jaguars want to go down that route, then it could be, it could be a fun one. Could be.
Yeah, receivers are always a flashy position, so it kind of sucks that out of the skill positions we've taken over the recent years, it's been. I mean, running back can be flashy, but definitely not as flashy as a receiver. We've took a blocking tight end and a power back, the probably the most unsexy skill positions archetypes to take. Not even a pass catching tight end, not a Sam Laporta or anything of that nature. We just took a blocking tight end, so very Jags that those are the skill positions they've taken. So, definitely they got to get a sexy, not even, it doesn't have to be super flashy first round receiver, as I said, but unless there's just so much better value at positions, I would be surprised if they leave receiver until round four. Which, I mean, if they get good receivers on day three, it could work. It's just
It's hard
obviously
to find that
the
guy.
lower you're in the draft, yeah, the more so you're leaving everything up to chance. So it really depends on how confident do they want to attack which positions. So
For sure. And if they don't decide to, trade for one of those top 10 pick wide receivers that we think is going to happen tomorrow, there are a couple guys that could be intriguing to the Jaguars. I believe it's Brian Thomas, AD Mitchell. Is there another? I forgot. There's usually one more people. Is there another one people talk about?
first round, I think those are pretty much the two. A lot of
Two.
people have Brian Thomas. Honestly, I think he's gone. I've seen him as high as even going at the Jets at 10 now recently, and I don't know. I think Brian Thomas is a good player, but I guess in terms of the fit I have with this team, I'm a little bit I don't know. I mean, I guess to me Brian Thomas is just a more souped up Gabe Davis, which isn't bad, but in terms of what the Jags need at receiver, I'm kind of just thinking, well, is it actually to make the most sense for them to go another deep threat kind of guy? Because Brian Thomas doesn't really have the most complex route tree. I don't want to say he's only a vertical go zoom guy, but probably his best traits are the fact that he's tall and really fast. So you kind of want him to go down the field, which is similar to Gabe Davis. So I mean, if the Jags offense wants to just have two guys who they just send on first all day down the field and they can draft Brian Thomas. But considering that it's Doug, I don't think that's his MO. I mean, that's why Brian Thomas, I won't hate the pick, but I would be surprised by it. To me, I think if there's one guy who makes a little more sense, it's probably AD Mitchell because he's just as athletic as Brian Thomas. They're both bigger receivers who play X more. But I think AD is a bit more of a smoother route runner. And I think he can play even though his route tree was also a little bit vertical at Texas, I think he has the route running chops to be able to play more so. He can kind of win short and middle and as well as deep as well. He had a 1% drop rate. The biggest problems with AD Mitchell are really just people are saying, oh, it's mainly mental stuff with AD Mitchell, which is kind of scary but kind of good because it's just, oh, well,
Yeah,
the
as every
guy he doesn't run effort on routes when he's not being targeted. I mean that's and oh, he doesn't play through contact that well. Sometimes he'll slide early to, not fight 2 yards after catch. And that's when the ball's not going his way, he doesn't block that tough. You can coach that out in the NFL. I'm not saying that he's not risky, because that's the thing. He's one of those players. People are all over the place with AD Mitchell. It's literally some people think that he's receiver number 4 off the board. Some people think he's just a mid-second round pick. So in terms of, I've heard the NFL's high on him, but I would not be surprised. Hold on, give me a quick second.
oh, for sure. Ooh, I'm by myself for a little bit. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Uh, oh boy, that was a
Sorry,
very seconds.
I just had to tell Alexa to shut up for a second. So, but yeah, I guess in terms of the Jags, I think AD Mitchell probably has the highest ceiling out of any receiver. Honestly, he might have the highest receiver of anybody out, even besides Marvin Harrison. He's that good, man. It's really just the AD. A lot of it's just mental aspects of the game. Can he be locked in, running routes at all times? Will he be a good blocker? I'm honestly, I'm not. I don't really care about the contact because I can't fault a receiver unless it's third and fourth down. They need extra yards. If they're past the sticks and a receiver goes down to save their body and avoid a fumble, I really can't be upset. So with Brian Thomas, I think it's a little more projection with 80. I think if you get this guy to lock in, he could be 1,000 receiver from day one. So those are probably the main options at 17. I mean, if they don't trade 17 for a receiver in terms of Ayuk or T. Higgins, which is another wormhole in and of itself. So
Yeah, that's the thing. We didn't even talk about just the trade scenarios that the Jaguars could do for guys that are not established in the draft and already established in the league. You know, guys like Ayuk and T. Higgins have been names have been thrown around this fan base, verbatim since free agency has started. And it doesn't look like T. Higgins will leave Cincinnati. They are adamant that they want to keep him, but easier said than done. You don't know what's gonna happen in draft night. It's just gonna be a very, very chaotic scenario when it comes to that. But the more realistic route would be to go after, Brandon Ayuk at the end of the day.
I want to see Higgins just because I think in terms of Clemson fit and I guess his play style, he probably fits, just getting that ball winner, kind of similar to why I want Rome or AD, just someone who can make snatch grabs. But, I guess it really just depends. If Ayuk is available, I would not be upset with Ayuk as well. So, there's so many different options they can do. I don't know if the trade market's available. And then it really just depends on how aggressively do they see receiver as a whole, because I think the fact that they tried to sign Ridley even with Gabe Davis, it says, hey, we're not content with the room. It just depends on how aggressive they'll be, whether they just want to spend a second, third rounder, or if they want to try to trade up for a guy in the first round. Just it really depends on how aggressive are they going to say, our room is fine. We just need another dude to play in. Because I don't think they necessarily need to get a 1,000-yard receiver from day one, but you definitely want a guy who can develop into that just because you want another guy on the outside. I don't as much as I think Gabe and Kirk can be a fine duo, I feel even with Ingram, you probably want one more guy on the outside because Gabe is just a little bit inconsistent playing. Unless he gets massively better, not even massive, but if he gets a fair bit better and he can be more consistent, then you won't need receiver one. But we didn't see that from him in Buffalo with Josh Allen. So
Yeah.
even when Stephon Diggs was kind of playing worse, Gabe Davis he never really broke out as Bills fans thought he was going to. So I know that they need another guy. I just don't know how aggressive they will be at getting that other guy.
Yeah, because I don't want to really talk about offensive linemen, honestly, because they're not the sexy position. I'm not gonna act like I'm an expert on offensive line because maybe they feel like they need some trench work still because 31st offensive line in the NFL, and then they kept the t-shirts and everything. But
Just to be
second
32nd.
round, I know two people that to keep the local flavor going. Since we're in Jacksonville, Florida, Georgia. Vlad McConkey and Ricky Pearsall are two intriguing prospects. But I fear that since Vlad McConkey tested and he did his pro day so well at Georgia, he might even go late first round. And Ricky Pearsall, he didn't even show up to his pro day, so I don't know how that affects anything. But he could be a guy that could fall into the Jaguars' position in round two. Depends how some teams like him because he played some slot. He played some outside at Florida last season. I got to see a lot of Pearsall, games as a Gator fan, and he was by far and beyond the best weapon the Gators had on the field whenever, whatever weapons that they had on the field that wasn't a freshman wide receiver there last year for the Gators.
Those two guys you mentioned, I think I don't think Lad will make it. I mean, it's you never say never, but yeah, I just had some late first round buzz with Lad. I think he can play on the outside. I just in terms of his stature, he's not going to make those
Yeah, contested catch.
physically imposing grabs. He's more of a technician. I'm not saying that just because he's white, I promise. But Lad would be a good player. With
Yeah,
Ricky, I mean, he has a little more of that catch radius.
yeah.
I don't know. I think he's a good player. I just literally, if he just went to a different school, I would be more on
You would be a
Pearsall. But
fan if he wasn't a
I
Gator.
I don't think he'll be a bad player. I just don't want the Jags to draft him. Is that fair?
Gator because
After years of Gator, but dude, and the thing is, I think he can be solid. I think he can play on the outside some. I mean, he did play in the slot as well. So I wouldn't think that Pearsall. I wouldn't be crying if we got Pearsall. I don't want to be the team that takes another Gator player. I'm sorry. It is just what it is. I can't help how I feel.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the last Gator that was really successful is now Kansas City Chief and won a Super Bowl. So the
I,
only other good Gator we ever drafted left us after his rookie contract. So we
and
can
he wasn't even that good. He just got paid his last year. So I'm just
yeah,
saying.
he got paid to do that jump start thing, and then and then the league's like, oh, well, what are you doing? You can't do that. You did that. You got away with it in Jacksonville for 4 years. Does it for one
And then
game.
as soon as national media sees Jawan Taylor doing what he did in Jackson, he got away with in Jackson and got him paid. He said, "Wait a second, I can't do this anymore." Hilarious, man. But
That's wonderful.
yeah, I guess I mean there's also it really just depends on how many outside receivers they're gonna get because there is a lot of slots in this draft as well. And that my biggest fear is that they just draft a slot guy and I'm just forced to watch them put. I don't think they will do it even just because some of the receivers they've visited with are definitely more so of the bigger mold. They haven't visited a lot of slot receivers, so you know I I don't think they will draft a smaller guy, but at the same time, it's not impossible for them to do it because it's the Jags. So it would just be such a kick in the nuts if we get to 48 and they just draft another slot receiver, and then everyone's just saying, "Well, where are you going to put him on the field?"
For sure. For sure. Yeah, that would be something with Pearson more to think about. Though, I was like, oh, he's mostly played slot, but he can't play outside. Are you just gonna move people around? You're just gonna keep doing this dink and dunk and BS that we don't like, which it's probably gonna happen at some point during the season. It's just the nature of
I'm
Doug Peterson press Taylor offense. But they can only hope that they can get someone that can really make an impact from day one because that's what really Jacksonville needs if they want to compete for the AC South once again with the Texans kind of loading up on both sides of the ball, especially after acquiring, Mixon and Diggs from Cincinnati and Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the prospect tracker just to see the receivers they visited with.
Hmm.
Just some notable names. Combine visit Brian Thomas, Ramo Dunze, virtual meeting with Tez Walker, my guy from Broward, Marcus Resmi Jackson from Georgia. They did a pro day visit with League Neighbors. Tez Walker, yeah, they've been on Tez Walker 3 times. So and he's another outside. Tez Walker to me is just basically a diet Gabe Davis, which is kind of hilarious. They also visited Jermaine Burton, Alabama, Jalen McMillan. So they've definitely done more on guys who are more so not even predominantly, but can play outside. So it seems that's the direction they're headed for receivers. Now to me, it's just a matter of when the draft is there because at 17, I could see them passing up. I feel if they get a cornerback, 48 is going to be the real point. Do they want to try to go defensive lineman, or are they just going to say, "Hey, let's get a receiver"? So
Hmm.
it's pretty interesting how they'll compare everything and just what round of receiver they want to go for. But I definitely think the latest and they should attack it is round 3 just to be safe.
You'd
So
have to address it before day two is over. I feel like a wide receiver at some point.
unless you just attack it aggressively on day 3 and draft 2 or 3 guys, which is not impossible, but you know, it's I really just don't know what they're going to do at the position, and that's why it's so crazy because definitely, you know, I'm even just looking now at just trying to figure out what receivers per round they're interested in. First round probably be the Brian Thomas, A.D. Mitchell. We talked about who, by the way, A.D. Mitchell, his relative athletic score was 9.99. So crazy, insane athlete. But, second round, I think a Keon Coleman would make a lot of sense. He was kind of a late first rounder, but now he's kind of fallen a little bit. The
It's a
thing
good,
with Keon, he's a
yeah.
very weird player because he he's one of more another of the possession receivers. But usually when possession receiver comes in the draft, it's because they can't separate because they're slow and or they're a bad athlete. Keon's not a bad athlete. I mean, he didn't run his 40-yard time, but he was playing punt returner. He was playing basketball. He's a good athlete. He's just not a great route runner. And the thing with Keon, I feel he's another polarizing player where if he just learns to route run and get a little more, he can get open at the NFL level. I think he can, but if he can, I just haven't seen it yet. But it's not because he's just slow and can't route run well. He's not. He's playing basketball. He's training. He's not. If Keon can train a little bit more to be a receiver, route run better, he can make the crazy catches. He has another physical, just another guy they need to make those crazy catches, red zone threat. Keon makes a ton of sense to me. Another guy. There's Troy Franklin from Oregon, he's a pretty fast guy. He's just very skinny. He's tall and skinny, so he's about 6'2", 170, 180. So he's a slim fellow, but he can run. I mean, I'm not the biggest Troy Franklin fan, but I think he has potential too. He can, stretch the field. And then I think the guy I'm most interested in is Xavier Legette because he had a very interesting profile. He didn't break out until his last year at South Carolina, but he went through a lot of things where he didn't really get the chance to play receiver that much.
Mhm.
And his route tree is a little bit undefined, but Xavier Legette is 6'2", 220, and ran a under 4.4. He's kind of got some D. Some people were saying he could either be the next Laviska Shenault or the next DK Metcalf.
Oh
So
well, that's a range of players that I
yeah,
wow.
Xavier, like, I mean, I think he could still be a solid player just because of his rec. I mean, he was playing kick returner for South Carolina. So I
Mhm.
think Legette could be a prototypical X. It's just a matter of he's still very raw at his game. How much do you want to put on his plate year one? But if you're telling me that Xavier Legette ends up to being a superstar in the league, I would not be surprised.
Mhm.
Those are just kind of the second round guys. I mean, I know third round. I know they visited Tez Walker. I'm not his biggest fan just because Tez is pretty much Tez is just another Gabe Davis in a sense. He's just a very linear, fast player. His hands aren't great, but he eats up strides, man. He's got great speed. It's just really a matter of
Can you like
catching the football.
else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm kind of scared because they've done 3 visits on Tez, so I know they're interested. And I don't. He's one of those players where I don't want to say. I mean, every player can be boom or bust, but with Tez, it's just yeah, he can get open and it'll look cool. But if you can't catch the ball, will it really matter? I don't know. Tez is. I think third round is approximate value. Even then, I think there's a couple better players. There's Jalen out of Washington, played with Roma Dunze, Jalen Polk also play with Roma Dunze, the Washington guys. Both of them are pretty kind of play inside and outside. And then probably my two favorite guys later is Jermaine Byrne from Alabama, who the tape wise is pretty good. People are saying he's a bit of a head case, but he's can also win downfield, another deep threat. And then Javon Baker from UCF. He can play downfield, win some contested catches. I think there's just so many dudes, man, to talk about in this class. It's crazy.
For sure. If I'm getting
So
distracted, Newcastle just kicked off against Crystal Palace, so I'm gonna have, a bit of a double screen. So I gotta support the lads. But you know what? I feel like we had enough talk of whiteout. It has to be done before day two. And let's have a little bit of fun. This is the first time we'll ever do something like this. But let's fucking do a mock draft. Let's find out right here. And boom. Can you see it just fine?
yeah, I can see it.
Awesome. All right. So, I don't have PFF Plus. I don't have money to give to Pro Football Focus for trades. Whatever. We'll try to do the best we can. I mean, is there really a debate to the number one pick this year
It's
in this
gonna be
draft?
Caleb Williams.
No, it's going to be let me see. So we're sure it's gonna be Caleb Williams. It's not gonna be what's the worst quarterback on here? It's not gonna be John Reese Plum.
John Rice, dude, that I've watched JRP play. He's literally the next Taysom Hill.
He's the
I
next
don't, I don't know why he declared. To be honest, I'm not even gonna hold you. He could have stayed a year, but all right, big ups to him,
for sure. So we're just gonna lock it in, right? No bullshit.
Caleb. So is this kind of what we would do, or what we kind of think will happen? Are we trying to predict?
Sorry, we almost conceded. I saw my face. I was like, it looks so horrified. I was like, oh, okay, that good block. But what do you want to do it? Do you want to think how we think we would try to we kind of like think, or what we do if we were this team? It doesn't matter, honestly. We'll just make it the official Jagged Edge mock draft.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll put Drake May at risk. I feel there's been too much smoke
About
for
like them not liking Jaden Daniels.
No, yeah, there's been too much smoke for Jaden, so I guess I'll go with Drake May just to kind of switch it up.
I was actually when I
Also, I
did a
just think
mock
that's
draft
what.
yesterday a little bit, I did choose Drake May as my number two. So I think we're both in agreement. We're not going to trade back from this spot. So wow, we can legit like so we can't. Oh, Can you legit do that? That's crazy.
Yeah, I guess we can try to do trades. It just depends on how insane you want to get.
It's
But yeah,
true.
Patriots. Oh yeah, Kill Commanders, Drake
Right
May,
away.
and then
But
Patriots.
they're not going to be
I
stupid, right? They're just going to take Jaden Daniels, I feel like, too.
the more I think about it, I kind of think that I'm not opposed to them taking Marvin Harrison, but I think they probably will just go a quarterback.
Hmm.
So
It's because they traded away Mac Jones and they don't, well, they really start the season with Jacoby Brissett.
I
And
mean, if you give Jacoby Brissett Marvin Harrison, it's also better. But yeah, I guess we could just go Jaden Daniels. The quarterbacks in this draft are I don't know what order they'll go in, but I don't want to take too much time. Cardinals, Marvin Harrison Jr., easiest pick
yeah,
on
the-
planet Earth.
Kyler getting Marvin Harrison Jr. Is Kyler back? I would think he'd be back with that.
He never left unless outside of him being hurt. With the Chargers, I've kind of been hearing a lot of smoke that people are high on J.C. Latham, the Alabama tackle, for
Yeah.
just in NFL circles. Because if the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh, they hired Greg Roman, who just wants to. Remember in Baltimore, never wanted to
Oh,
design a passing play. Now they want to run the football. Latham makes a lot of sense, and he's a right tackle, but also left tackle. So
wait, who's
I
their
think
weapons now? There's not really a
yeah,
lot of
the receiving core is bad, but
decimated.
it's it is hope Quinn Johnson becomes good. Josh Palmer's a dude. They
Yeah.
drafted Darius Davis as a returner who's got some juice. I mean, they very obviously could go a receiver here. I
Hmm.
just if for chaos reasons, I want to go JC Latham because I also could see them taking an offensive lineman. Just say we're gonna
I was legit
who needs receivers when we're gonna run the football 30 times a game.
when I did my mock draft yesterday, I gave them Joe Alt, but I had no idea about the JC Latham smoke. So I trust your word more than mine. So I am going to go scroll down and choose just for chaos reason, just to see what this looks like. We'll go JC Latham. We'll just listen to the smoke.
Giants, I
They mean buff the top three quarterbacks for Giants.
if we're talking about for chaos reasons, I could just give the Giants Malik Neighbors and then say let's trade up for Roma Dunze at 8. But we
Hmm.
we we don't need to. As fun as it is, we don't need to do that.
Is this a JJ McCarthy spot?
It's not impossible. They definitely could go JJ. I mean,
But they paid
if you
Daniel Jones $40 million
they can
this
get out of his contract next
year
year,
ago.
so it's really just a matter of if they draft JJ to sit a year or if they try to get the situation better for the next quarterback for next year.
True.
But I if I was the Giants, I would probably go Rome just because they already have a ton of shifty spots, which
Yeah.
I think Neighbors can play some X too. But I think Rome just complements the room so well. They already have
Who's their GM now? I mean, it's not the
Joe
freaking. I
Shane. It's
was
the
gonna
yeah,
say it's
Bills
not Dave Gettleman anymore. He'd be like the most like out there. Like we'd probably take Brock Bowers at
Kadarius.
6 just to be like
He
different.
would be their receiver one, unironically.
Who
So
Brock Bowers? He
yeah,
legitimately would. But there's a lot of smoke that from our boy what's his face Pretty Ricky that Darnell was it the tight end Daryl was it Daryl Walker
Darren Waller,
Waller Jesus fucking Christ his Newcastle Knights.
Kelsey Plum's ex-husband.
Yeah, that's right. Kelsey Plum's ex-husband now. Uh, do you think that could actually like affect things that they lost Darren Waller? They just
I
draft
mean,
Brock
I feel they could, no matter what, they should get a weapon, even if Darren Waller is available. I mean,
Can we cause
whether you're
chaos? I
counting,
kind of want to put Brock Bowers down just with the Darren Waller, the Darren Waller news out there. I kind of want to put Brock Bowers at number 6 just to be
I
different.
mean, they do need a pass catcher. So if you want to go for chaos, I'm not going to stop you. It kind of makes sense, but
So
it
Brock
also it's
Bowers picks
chaotic
up who
enough.
you want. If I didn't say anything, who would you put here?
I probably would just pick. I mean, if I would think the Giants are going to take
Yeah,
Neighbors, if I think I would take for them Rome for chaos Brock. So
we'll just do chaos, right? It's more fun that way.
I mean, I don't want to say they definitely couldn't work because they definitely even if Darren Waller is playing, you could just put Waller on the outside, Brock Bowers. So uh, you lead the way. You're the one clicking drafts, so
That's true.
you
You
get
chose
final
Latham
call.
last pick. We'll just go chaos. We'll just do Brock Powers at number 6. We have no idea what we're
Yeah,
doing.
unfortunately, As I
Yeah,
want the Titans to take a bus, but they're probably gonna take Joe Alt, and I'm going to
yeah. I was like, I just immediately put my mouse to it. I'm just like, he's a good player. He's gonna go to Tennessee, and I'm just gonna be more upset.
Falcons at eight. I actually do think the Falcons
Do they
would
stay?
actually trade down here. I don't think because between JJ being of it, are we doing the trade?
Would they? They are not interested in trading. Force this trade. Can I not offer, or do I?
I think it's
No, it's locked. Yeah, I
I
can't
think the Falcons actually would
trade it to
be
Jackson.
interested in trade. Not even just Jacksonville, but I mean Minnesota would try to just trade up for JJ. Denver would try to trade up for JJ.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe
so
the
they can, yeah. Right.
Raiders,
This
and
is
then
Jake.
on top of just neighbors and Rome being there, I don't think Atlanta would actually trade here. But since we can't trade back down, I
Hmm.
mean,
Are they?
it's a
Are
defensive
they?
player.
Are they a D line team or DN team that they're interested in right now? I forgot
I
this.
don't know. I don't honestly. I feel they could just kind of use a little bit of
Wasn't
everything
there?
on defense.
Yeah, wasn't there a Dallas Turner smoke though when it comes to Atlanta? Or am I going crazy?
Yeah, I mean, it's LN is a very weird team because none of the value. That's why I feel they definitely probably will be trade down. But if it's it's definitely going to be a defensive lineman or a corner. So it just depends on who you think is better for them because they could use a corner. Yeah, their needs are D line and corner. So I think
Oh,
that adds up pretty well. So I guess you could just give him Latu, or I think that would make either probably Latu, maybe Byron Murphy here, Johnny. It just yeah,
uh,
I feel Atlanta kind of has to trade down, which they probably would want to do because it's not a defensive heavy class. So
yeah. And they can get someone that just falls to wherever they go down to, and they just take someone that they like. All right, I think we'll not overthink it. We'll do light to lot two because best available player on the board. They need a D line. He's one of the best, so we'll just take light to lot two.
and then yeah, so Bears.
They will
I mean,
probably take
really
one of
just a
these,
coin flip. It's a
right?
coin flip between neighbors and a Dunze.
Who do you think would be better alongside So if you're in Chicago, you have Caleb Williams, you already give them Keenan Allen along with
Hmm.
DJ Moore now. You need that third wide receiver to kind of just open up the entire offense. Already got Cole Kmet, you got no excuses. What do you do if you're Chicago? You trade, I would think they might even trade down too, because I feel like you can just take a guy who falls
They
later on.
could trade. They don't have many picks, so they also could trade down. In this scenario, they
And if they
probably do just take
like,
Malik Neighbors.
all right, I would just think so too. Just see, because he can kind of play that slot position that we talked about early on
You just
too.
have Neighbors and DJ Moore around, and that's just speed.
The Jets, do they
I
comp?
mean, I think they could go Rome if they don't want to go O line. How heavy do they want to go O line is in question.
But they have
So
Asuka, man. So
they
do
do
you
have Ayashuka man. So if you wanted to just be a chalk pick, then yeah, I would say let's just probably Troy because he can play more positions.
okay?
I know Joe Douglas is high on full. I feel they're about the same. The O line in this class is actually really interesting because there's just so many players. And then yeah, Vikings are going quarterback. There's not even a question.
It's like, well, yeah. Who's
Broncos
the
country.
quarterback right now?
Honestly, I kind of don't hate
Is
Rome
still
to the
Trevor?
Broncos this low. If I'm just saying, if we're not going to take Rome, because I can't see the Colts passing on him, we can't trade. So I think for the Broncos, probably just get the best available player. I mean, they just need someone to help their quarterback, and Cortland Sutton's already getting older, so they could kind of draft Rome to replace Cortland Sutton.
Yeah,
I mean, at this point, they just need
someone.
yeah, they need talent. So Raiders is a very interesting team. I feel
They're not shoehorned for corner, but it feels like they're
I
shoehorned.
don't honestly I you can't convince me the Raiders aren't taking Michael Penix at some point. I just
Well,
don't know whether they're
I
doing it
just
at a
don't think
smart
we can.
point or
Right? They can't make the same mistake twice. But wasn't there smoke that one of the quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels, really wants to play for Antonio Pierce? Like they could be that trade up candidate that
I,
we don't expect to go up super early.
yeah, no, I do expect it. I
Oh, you
do
do
expect
expect
it.
it, that they're going to try at least a trade up for Jaden Daniels if he does not go number two to
Oh,
Washington.
for sure.
But since he's gone, do we go corner? Do we go? They have, look at the needs. They say they need everything.
I don't think their roster is great, but I don't think it's that bad. I don't know. Well, I mean, yeah, I would say they probably
They probably take corner, right?
if it's not Michael Penix for chaos, then it probably is Quinion, is my guess.
Quinion Mitchell, I think so too.
And then yeah, Saints just O line. They need O line. I mean, they need quarterback too, but they stuck
Yeah,
with
they
Derek
gotta get
Carr.
Darren Carr
So
too. Which one do they go to? Do they go Fuaga? Do they go Mims?
maybe maybe Olu. It really just depends between Fuaga if they want a right tackle or a left tackle in Olu because I mean they kind of need help everywhere on the offensive line. Not even gonna hold. Honestly, would Graham Barton be crazy?
It would seem
Because
very
he can
safe
play.
to kind of just reach for a tackle, though, wouldn't it?
I
But I'm not.
mean, the thing is, they need help just everywhere. Literally, their starting left guard just announced his retirement a couple hours ago. So left tackle,
Because
their left tackle stinks. Their left guard is retiring. Center and right guard are okay. I think they're fine. And then their right tackle Ramchek is medically. They have three positions they need to change. So they
oh,
literally just need help at offensive. They need a left tackle, a left guard, and a right tackle.
mhm.
So I guess in terms of versatility, you could maybe. I'll take Fuwa. I'll take Olu. I don't know. There's so many different offensive linemen. They're all kind of clustered together. It really
Yeah,
just depends on personal preference. I guess you can be Olu just to
Fashanu.
switch it up. Yeah,
Sure.
and then
Oh, they're
I
they're
think
they're getting the on, right? Gus Bradley will not turn down competition.
thing is I was talking before. I mean, I don't want the Jags to pick Cooper because he's not really a press guy, but for the Colts scheme, I think it's a great fit. I mean, he's probably the best cover three corner in the class. He can tackle. Colts need help everywhere.
Just the
I
Iowa
mean,
guy going to Indiana to play football just seems like a match made in heaven. So I would just shoot. I don't want to shoehorn Cooper DeJean to the Colts, but it just feels like it, right? What are the Seahawks up to these days? I don't even know what they actually really need, if I'm really honest with you. Even
I
though it
feel
has,
it's probably just yeah, and it's if it's not a defensive lineman, it's an
and it's
offensive
not
lineman.
Pete Carroll anymore, so they're not going to reach for some weird motherfucker we never heard of.
They still could, but
It's a
I
whole
would
new.
probably say Byron, either Byron or Johnny Newton. It just depends on. I
Uh,
guess Byron Murphy's probably picked to go higher, so I guess Byron Murphy, even though people think Newton's can be better, but
I would be upset if he went before Jacksonville, but I can totally see it. I'll just put Byron Murphy there at
I don't
16.
hate it. Yeah, I mean, I think here for now, best, hopefully the best team. So for the Jags,
This
they
is the one
definitely could.
I'm made about since we're
Here
leaving.
is yeah, here is a perfect spot. Newton, if
I
they
would
want to go,
love Newton at 17. I know he's a risk because of the medical stuff, but I think he's super, super talented. And just thinking of third round pass rush sets with like him, Arik Armstead in the middle, and then you have Walker and Allen on the edges. That's a third and medium, third and long nightmare for a lot of teams, I feel like.
yeah, I
But
mean Newton, Fuaga also makes a lot of sense. I mean, they don't really have. He's more of a right tackle, but if you think he can play guard, I mean, they definitely could use guard help.
now
I mean,
Turner and Jared
Dallas
Verse,
Turner, Jared.
that's
I
some
think I,
talent.
I think they would take Cherry on though. I think in terms of probably the highest need as well as just kind of matching the in terms of fit, need, and value, I think Terry on just makes so much sense because
Doesn't it?
he can play press. The only other corner they'd be interested in this early, not this they're fine with Kool-Aid at 17. I wouldn't hate it, but Terrion, I think Terrion's probably gonna he probably will go a little bit early unless Cooper doesn't have him, but Terrion makes a lot of sense. So
I'll just shoot
Bengals,
for
they probably
Fuaga. Yeah, because they just need anyone on offensive line. They got it.
it's either him or Johnny Newton, but Fulg also makes sense. They could use a right tackle for the future. So
Fuaga, Fuaga, Fuaga.
And yeah,
Yeah.
Rams.
So
Uh,
I would be kind of upset though if they took. Not gonna lie, I'd be really upset if they turned down a Jared verse over a a Newton or a verse over a Terry and Arnold. I just think that verse and Newton and Byron Murphy are just gonna be so good. But hindsight's 2020. It's a very very pressing need. We need another outside corner pretty badly. But you know
I mean,
what?
yeah, I don't hate it because I think they're all grayed out kind of similarly in terms of talent, and Terran fills a better need. But I wouldn't be upset if they do go front seven and just create a wicked pass rush. So speaking of pass rush, I mean
Are
that's
my
probably
eyes
where
my eyes are deceiving me? Is that the Rams selecting in the
yeah they
first?
have a first round pick this year. They should just trade it, dude. They should just trade the first round pick and just
Trade back all the way out of the first round just to fuck with us again.
the
I mean,
Rams should just say give me harder ballots and trade the first round pick.
has to be Johnny Newton replacing Aaron Donald, right?
I
That'd be
kind of feel bad though that those are terrible shoes to fill. But
yeah,
I mean, yeah, because they do have another guy in Kobe Turner who played well, but it's just a matter of how the do defense will kind of operate. Do they want a bigger body next to him? Because Kobe's also 289, so if you have him and Johnny, they're both smaller players. So I mean, Ariana wasn't also super, he wasn't 350. So I guess we could do Newton just kind of for vibes, but I think Turner and Verse also make a lot of sense.
true. I mean, I feel like Turner's been going around early very often, so maybe we should just go Turner, right?
I mean, I wouldn't be so they could also use more edge help as well. So
I think Dallas Turner he's gone on.
he's from Broward, so I had to get him in top 20. So Steeler
Pittsburgh Steelers. Do they got
probably
a wide receiver?
Marius Mims. The Steelers always go receiver second round though. That's the thing. I feel they always go receiver second round and their hit rate is 80% for them. It's stupid. So even though I do think 80 would fit for them, I think they could probably just go wherever second round receiver makes the most sense. And the Steelers already drafted a Georgia player last year in Broderick Jones, Georgia tackle. So they do
Like
because
Georgia.
probably it'd be either Marius Mims or Graham Barton. Kind of just get a guy who can play alongside the line. So, but it probably will be O line. So it just depends. Because
I mean,
Mims is the athletic freak who hasn't played much, and then Barton is just can play all across the line. So I'll go Mims just for Georgia vibes. But and then yeah, Dolphins. It probably is either Johnny Newton or Graham Barton. Actually, do we want more chaos?
oh, well, how
Do we
chaotic?
want more? Xavier Worthy to the Dolphins would be so stupid. It would be
No?
so irresponsible, but it
Oh,
also would be hilarious.
yeah, where is it? Where is it? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he?
He's not ranked that high in PFF, but there are people who are saying he might be wide receiver 5 or 6. I don't know. I think he's gonna go first round. That's
Yeah,
I
that speed is like it'll tempt someone here.
and the thing is I don't literally he's a perfect fit for the Dolphins offense just because they're just going to get him
More
in space,
speed.
get him in motion, get him in the middle of the field, and just they're gonna dare a linebacker or a safety to catch up with 4.21 speed, and it's going to be so stupid.
I want
So
to give them Johnny Newton because they lost Wilkins, but just for you convinced. I think you just convinced me right there. Just
if
to be
the I no, I think some team Xavier Worthy is gonna go in the first. That's my crazy lock. I think
I
Worthy's
don't
gonna go
blame
in the
you.
first
It's
round.
like Chris Johnson, like back in like 2008, right? Like, oh my God, like this no-name guy, but he ran like a 4.340 at the combine, and then like, oh, but not even like a 4.2 something 40 at the combine. Like, oh, this guy's gonna go earlier than expected now because he's just super, super fast. Worked out for Tennessee. Didn't work out for Jacksonville because we had to see him twice a year, but you know, I that's just very chaotic. You know what? I kind of like that just for chaos reasons. Philadelphia Eagles. What a disappointing way to end last season. Who do they take in?
Wow, almost as bad as us.
Yep,
I
or
mean,
almost
yeah,
as bad.
Eagles are probably gonna go corner, but I would not be surprised if they just went all on offensive line again because it's how they do.
But
So
there's a lot of good corners now, though. It's like you kind of like
the
don't want to be super irresponsible. It could be a Nate Wiggins.
I would say yeah, probably if it's not a corner, it's probably a probably offensive line, but Nate Wiggins. I know they did get Fangio, so they can kind of be more of a zone team. So I don't think they'd be interested in Kool-Aid. I
Uh,
think Cooper, if he gets also here, makes a lot of sense, but he was available, so we can give him Nate Wiggins. Really
all
just
right.
depends on how much man versus zone they want to play. And then the Vikings,
Well,
weird
they
seeing them pick this low. I think
back.
they would sprint to the podium and probably take Johnny
Yeah,
Moon.
yeah. I don't think I feel like it'd be a mistake for him to fall this far. You know, I just think he's that good.
Yeah,
So
I do think he's good too, man. So because with Philly, the only thing is Philly, they already have so many defensive linemen, they don't need him.
yeah,
But yeah, Cowboys.
a defensive lineman and
The
a
the
lot of
fun the fun pick is AD Mitchell because CD
defense.
Lamb. I mean, they don't have a lot of guy. I think that it probably does make the most sense that they go. If not, it probably would either be Barton
Barton,
or 'cause
do you think
I
they could
don't
take
know if
here? They kind of need someone next to Trayvon Diggs. Well, they also got that other
they
guy, right?
have Bland. I mean, Gilmore is getting older, so they could go a corner. I mean, Cowboys to me feel their biggest needs are linebacker and running back, which they can't
And also
really
a
go.
tackle though, because they also lost what's his Tyron
They
Smith.
yeah they because they drafted Tyler Smith to
Yeah,
play left tackle, but he played left guard. So I think Barton does make perfect sense here because whether you keep one of those players, you can switch the versatility of the lineman, but I don't think that's a bad pick. Green Bay is a weird team to draft for because they have very certain specific draft
need
profiles. So I
offensive lineman. It looks like defensive lineman and safety. Do we just another
did
shoot
lose.
offensive lineman?
I don't even know what to pick for the Packers, man, because
It's all
the
centers. So Tyler Guyton might be someone that may be intriguing here too.
yeah, I kind of let me see the defensive lineman because I don't think they need a guy, but at the same time, I just don't know the Packers draft thresholds. I know they kind of have specific ones, receivers they don't get.
Yeah. Oh well, I'm trying to.
Actually, do we want more chaos?
How chaotic are we talking about here?
I
Oh,
was thinking, I was thinking maybe if we gave them Brian Thomas, they don't need another receiver, but he does fit more of the size threshold
at the
and they
pack.
just get if they want to build around Jordan Love and then just get another. I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't think they would do it, but at the same time, then taking another receiver is
It'd be kind of irresponsible for like the Packers, right? I feel like just a tackle because kind of
yeah.
makes.
They also do they did lose Bakhtiari, so Tyler Guy does make sense.
Yeah, they did lose guy Bakhtiari, huh?
Now
It's
the
Tyler
Buck yeah.
Edgerd versus that's the Edgerd versus.
I think the other Bucks probably would go verse either if not verse in the Cardinals.
The fact that he fell this far is
Okay.
probably really bad on our end, but we kind of
How chaotic are we going? Dude, we could give Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison, and AD Mitchell and Brian Thomas. That would be absolutely ludicrous.
so wait, who is your other receiver that who is the
Greg
receiver?
Dortch and Okay, Michael Wilson is nice. I mean, yeah, the Greg Dortch, Trey McBride. Okay, they don't need to go receiver, but they could go receiver.
Yeah. Did they just give
I
Jackson
think
Powers Johnson? That seems like
either
a
of them or Kool-Aid, probably, I would say. I don't know how
oh,
press heavy they are, though. That's the thing with Kool-Aid is just he's such a
oh my god.
specific
Oh my
corner.
god.
I feel some
He's on oh sorry. Almost
Newcastle.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess I'll say Jackson Powers Johnson to make. I mean, yeah, he's kind of fallen, but I think it makes a lot of sense here.
Yeah. Because just another big offensive lineman for the
Yeah, Bills. This is a dream come true. You either get AD or Brian Thomas.
or do they go for another white boy that they can put in for Josh Allen? I don't know. I just feel like a funny thing to do for Buffalo. Just give them the white receiver.
No, I do think they probably. I just don't know. I guess AD. I don't know either AD or Brian because I felt if they were just looking to replace Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas is perfect. Not looking to replace Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs.
It's true.
I would still go Brian Thomas though. Just Josh Allen is probably is the perfect quarterback for him because they still need a vertical guy. I think the Lions would jump all over Kool-Aid if he was here.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of he knows he fits the culture.
Lions. He does fit
Just
because they drafted the safety last year, right? God,
Yeah,
what
they did
really
draft Brian Branch last year.
they did like
The
Brandy.
person who
I love
everyone,
Brian Branch.
every Jags fan wanted to play slot for them. But yeah, Coolidge just fits. I mean, they have Carlton Davis, who they traded for, but well, it's not super young. I think Coolidge makes a lot of sense.
Receiver for the
Ravens are a weird team because
could they be
I
that AD Mitchell team?
probably not, I don't know. I mean, they just extended Rashad Bateman today.
They
They
did.
have Zay Flowers. I mean, Odell's gonna leave, but they have other guys. They could go AD Mitchell, and I wouldn't hate it.
Or would it be Lad McConkey because he can play kind of both slot and outside and can be a bit more versatile
I,
kind of
I feel that they probably are gonna go offensive line. The Ravens are a weird team because I trust them to draft well in the mid rounds.
it's true.
So because I mean I'm trying even the O line has started to dry out a little bit more, but
Hmm.
I guess Jordan Morgan, they could be their type. I've seen people mock him before. But yeah, the Ravens are kind of a weird team because they don't have a ton of holes, but oh, good. I feel so bad. The Chiefs are about to get someone great, and I'm gonna throw up. But because I feel for the Niners, they probably either need offensive lineman again, is a corner. They also could use another receiver with all this Ayuk smoke trade. So
I
I
think
think Lad McConkey makes perfect. Because I was gonna say, 80 is probably the higher ceiling in terms of probably scheme fit. I think Lad is just
he seems
chef's
like a
kiss.
receiver, right?
Yeah,
You're
Shanahan just probably wants a guy to just run his route, get open. You need someone to just pilot everything. I think that makes a ton of sense. They could motion him and put him in and out. He can get open when he needs to. I think Lad just screams 49er to me though. And then
and we're giving you Mitchell.
80 Mitchell with the Chiefs is going to be so disgusting. They also need a tackle too. They definitely need offensive line, but
We gotta give them a little bit of fun, right? We don't. They don't need any more fun than they need to, but kind of makes sense, right?
I'm gonna be so sick when 80 Mitchell's gonna be 1,000 yard receiver with the Chiefs. Oh, we got an award.
My drafts. Oh boy, I don't want us to grade our draft.
F.
Oh boy. I can. Here it is. Oh boy,
The
and of
kid, the
all its
full chaos.
sure. Oh yeah, we can't save the image.
I mean, yeah, I guess we'll see. Because the thing with the draft, I think everyone tries too hard to predict what makes sense. And with the draft, you always have to predict some chaos. You always have to.
Yeah. I mean, that's okay on the Brock Bowers at number 6 in the Giants. No, we don't need a receiver. We have the freaking Waller news. They're gonna draft Brock Bowers because of it. Just because it's the
Just,
Giants.
dude,
Our poor
I'm just even trying to think last year how chaotic the draft was. I don't think anyone projected Witherspoon to go to the Seahawks. I
hmm
don't think people expect Donald Wright to go as high as he did. No one really saw Jimmy Gibbs going to be a top 12
top
pick.
first
You
round.
know,
He went number 12 to Detroit. And I was like, oh, okay. This
Will
is what
McDonald kind of going that early. Even Emmanuel Forbes over Gonzalez. Everyone pre-draft had Gonzalez higher, except for the Commanders, and it didn't work out great for them. But there's going to be someone who's drafting a player position that media will have them be higher or lower on, and I was going to be so confused. And
Mhm.
then yeah, Jack Campbell. I don't think people thought he was going to be a first rounder. I keep forgetting, dude. The Dolphins lost the first round pick. It's so hilarious. I like a Miami Dolphins selection forfeited, but yeah, I mean, even Addison and Zay Flowers, I don't think people were that surprised that they went that low, but in terms of where they did. And then, the draft is always chaotic every single year, man. So you
Yeah.
kind of have to draft for
You have to have like
chaos.
that one. What the fuck is that? And Brock Bowers at number 6, and I guess Latham at number 5 is kind of like, okay, what the fuck is going on here? Type of moves for this draft. Of course, top 10. So, it's probably not going to be, we're going to 100% get all of this wrong, except for maybe the first 2 or 3 picks. But even
We're
then,
getting everything is right. This is going to be the spoilers guide to the NFL draft. We just
oh
spoiled it
boy,
for
no
everybody.
trades. Everybody stays in. Everybody plays nice. Nothing nefarious at all. Oh my God. Oh my God. Come on,
What
he sucked.
happened?
Suck. Oh, no, he got surrounded by 3 people at once. Okay, never mind. But, anything else you want to say before we head out for the rest of the day? Final
One
thoughts.
more sleep. Oh, thank heavens, we're finally over.
I got
And
AEW
just
tonight,
I
so
can't I can't wait to come on this podcast Sunday and scream my head off that we didn't take a receiver until round 5 and that we took a safety in the third round over instead. I know it's gonna happen. I can't wait.
we're gonna just reach for someone that we didn't really need in the spot because they were so high up on our board for whatever reason, even though they were like a fifth round
I can't
prospect.
wait for us to take Xavier Worthy at 17 and I'm gonna lose my head.
Are you? I mean, I would I be upset for a fast guy for Trevor though? I would. I wouldn't
I
be up.
just the fit. I mean,
Yeah, you're
dude, we
right.
can't. If we get another if we leave this draft with another slot receiver, the Jag, just bulky. If you're out there watching this, and I know you're online, we know you are online, Trent Baalke.
You are critically online as much as we are. We
Just
know that.
all I ask, because I remember I was listening to Jag Report, and they're saying the reason that they took the day, infamous day 2 was because in the Jags need their biggest priority was right tackle and getting a power running game. Do not have stupid priorities. That's all I'm saying. Because it makes more sense if you think, oh yes, they wanted to bulk up the running game, so let's draft these players. They just didn't work out at all. Just have a smart plan. And when you say, hey, let's get a receiver, get the a right kind of receiver. There's so many guys in this draft. Please don't get another slot receiver. We already have Kirk and Ingram and probably Parker if he's on it. And do just please just make picks that make sense. Just do the bare minimum. And then you're going to miss on some because of the draft. But at least get the picks. If the picks hit and they make sense, that's all I'm asking for. Oh, I'm so prepared for them to do something stupid. I hate this team sometimes.
It's Baalke as general manager. It's a given. It's not a prediction. It is a spoiler that he's gonna take someone that we're all gonna hate and we were gonna be right about. All right. Other than that, you're right. We're gonna be 100%. I'm not gonna doubt you anymore. I 100% agree this will be the draft. That because you know what's funny about that? It's kind of like in 2020 when the we all wanted Isaiah Simmons, and then for some reason the Cardinals, who had no idea how to use Isaiah Simmons and didn't need Isaiah Simmons, gets taken a pick before the Jaguars, which would have
And we
avoided
ended
us
up
from
with
taking Caleb on
CJ
Chase on that
Henderson.
20.
Oh my goodness.
And even though Buzz he didn't work out, it was just a very funny scenario because we took Chase on in 20 when Justin Jefferson went 2 picks later and became the best
I
wide
don't
receiver.
want to talk about that draft.
No, I don't want to talk about it either. So that's just funny how it worked out. Where I think Byron Murphy and Johnny Newton are going to be two of the best, because especially since interior defensive linemen got a lot of money recently too.
Yeah, I could see them. I could see them going a little bit, especially Byron Murphy. People are really high on him. I still think Newton's just as good, if not better. But
Yeah,
I could see them probably both being top 20 picks.
for sure. But honestly, they got one more sleep, like you said. One more sleep to go. Javal, it's been a long journey into the NFL draft. I don't know how we did it. I don't know how we got here,
We did this by complaining about Trent Baalke every step of the way.
for sure. But the tweets will be fired out. I'm actually going to be in Orlando tomorrow, so I won't be in Jacksonville for the draft. I'll be in there
He's
tonight.
going to be watching the Magic play. I feel so bad if the Magic lose and then he comes out and then the Jags
Trade
do
up.
something stupid.
Yeah, they trade up as we're walking away from the arena, all depressed. They were both just like, "Oh my god, they actually did something. They did something exciting during the draft instead of whatever the fuck they usually do." That wasn't like a given like Trevor Lawrence or whatever. All right, I'm being distracted though by Newcastle, so I'm
We'll
gonna
see
leave.
how this draft lines up.
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
And I guess
John. I
a
will.
little
I'll be
bit.
ready to rant with you on Friday.
All right, fuck it. I'll just put the genres up here. Who's gonna watch this shit? I did tell Javal yesterday, if you're somehow here, there's a rumor tonight since AEW is in Jacksonville, Daly's place, home of All Elite Wrestling, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars, that a certain world champion might be debuting something that we weren't really asking for and has been teased as early as last week. Throwbacks maybe for our world champions for Strickland.
Hey, now it's throwback soon. I will be on full mast.
Oh, I know. If I'm
I will
there
be.
tonight and I get to see it close and personal with that AEW World Title, the row that we're sitting is gonna be covered in white, and it's gonna be a mess to clean up. That's how much we've been asking for these throwbacks for so long, though.
All right, John. Well, I'm looking forward to being upset about this draft in 3 days.
I kind of upset I'm missing out the unveiling of the anniversary logo, but we're just gonna see what it is on Twitter anyways at 7 o'clock. So right after the first break, I'll probably see what the new the anniversary logo is anyways for the Jags. But with that, Javal, one more sleep. I'm excited. Magic NFL draft, Jacksonville Jaguars. God, please help me out with both of them, please. I never usually have two my teams do good at like the same time. So if it has the one rare occurrence, I hope that it's tomorrow. So yeah. Any final words? We always do this, I feel like. We just ramble for like 10 minutes when I mean to like kind of end it.
Don't draft something stupid. It's all I can think about, and I'm just so prepared for this second round box safety. Going to
No,
lose it.
let's not stop that. All right, Jamal, have a good night.
All right, John. You too. Take care. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.